Welcome back to another Thompson's Coins video, where today we'll be discussing 5 mistakes that new collectors make. So obviously, having a shop here, I get to have really interesting interactions with all types of collectors at all different levels as well. From the first time in a coin shop collector, right through to people that have been collecting since before I was even born. So it's quite interesting, and as a result, I thought it might be interesting to share with you a few interesting examples of some of the mistakes that I've seen people make in their journey of collecting, and some of these mistakes, I'll be honest, I made myself, so you don't have to be too hard on yourself. Number 1, and straight off the bat, this is one that I am guilty of, and that is trying to collect everything. So lacking a theme or direction with your collection can sometimes lead to a little bit of confusion, and when you take a step back and look at your collection, sometimes it can get a little overwhelming. If you have a number of areas that you've begun to collect in, but you haven't really refined it, or you haven't found a certain theme or a collection that you're looking to fill out, I've seen it happen from time to time, and it almost happened to me. You look at your collection and you think, I've got a little bit of everything, but there's no one particular area that I'm really proud of or really enjoying. And as a result, it can become quite easy to just step away from, or put it to one side and focus on other things. And then you fall out of love with the greatest hobby in the world. So that's one mistake that people can make, is just getting a little bit of everything. And before you know it, you don't really have anything that you're focused on, or you don't look to upcoming releases as an exciting addition to a collection that you're working your way towards. So that's something that, and it's not really a big mistake, I'll be honest, because I still personally, well, given that I own a shop, I have to adopt that method of collecting. I have to have a bit of everything where possible. But I found, just as a collector personally, that was something that I struggled with early on. I really wanted to have everything possible. I really didn't focus on one particular area. And it's something that I've noticed that people that have a set focus for their collecting seem to, in my experience, get a little more enjoyment out of it, because they have set goals. You know, let's say maybe it's a florin collection and they want every single florin. As they work their way towards building up that collection, each florin is intentional and meaningful to them, rather than just the shotgun approach and getting everything and anything they can. All right, on to number 2. Number 2 relates to the fear of missing out, also known as FOMO in the collecting world. Well, it's not just the collecting world. Everyone knows what FOMO means, I guess. But this is something that's a lot more prevalent with the latest Royal Australian Mint releases. Anytime they seem to put out a new coin, the media get hold of it. And I'll confess again, I'm probably part of the problem. I do a bit of radio and occasional TV interviews and talk about new releases. I try to promote them just as a gateway to collecting for people. I certainly don't get on the radio and start telling people to pay obscene prices and jump on eBay and pay 10 times the release price. That's not really what it's about. But I do tend to encourage people to look at coin collecting as a potential hobby, because I truly believe it's the greatest hobby in the world. You can learn so much about not only Australian history, but world history, and you can do it in a tangible way. So back to the mistake people make. Here I go, I'm getting on a tangent. But collecting based on FOMO, or the fear of missing out, I don't think, well, I actually can say from experience, I deal with a number of collectors that come into the shop here that only want the new releases, and they think they need 5 or 10 of them, and it's so urgent, and it's almost a life and death thing. And sometimes people get really bent out of shape and get downright nasty about it. And I have asked them before, I've said to people, do you enjoy this? Are you having fun? Because it seems like you're just really upset, and I've never met you before, and you've come into my shop demanding this hot new release, which more often than not I don't have, because at this stage I'm not an official Royal Australian Mint distributor. So I have to explain that to them, that as a dealer, even the official Royal Australian Mint distributors struggle getting enough to meet demand. So these people can come in really bent out of shape because they think they need this really hot ticket item, and I guess they're missing the point of collecting. They're just buying these things purely to on sell and missing the point of collecting entirely. More often than not, I would speculate that a number of these people that are buying purely to on sell don't even take the time to look at the product that they're buying and understand that there's a story attached to it. A lot of these coins are made for a reason. They're highlighting a piece of Australian history or a major event that's taken place in Australian history. And they're missing it entirely, which is sort of disappointing. But then similarly, as a result, if you're only collecting with this intense desire to only have the hot new releases, I'm sad to say that you might find yourself disappointed and ultimately missing an opportunity to get involved in an otherwise great and very rewarding hobby. So FOMO, bit of a mistake in my opinion. On to number 3. Number 3 is collecting based on what I would consider bad advice from either other collectors or just uninformed people in general. I see it time and time again when I'm chatting away with someone and they'll have a friend with them, or just someone in general will chime in and give their opinion. And I always preface my opinion with, this is just one guy's opinion and I have a bias because I own the shop. So anytime someone asks me for a recommendation, I tell them it's actually quite challenging for me because I love everything that I stock here in the shop. And I say, as a result, you'll get a biased opinion, but I'm happy to offer it. But there are people out there that will give their opinions that either don't know very much about the subject they're talking about, or they give it with their own bias built in. So for instance, if they really enjoy banknote collecting and someone's considering getting into coin collecting, they'll naturally have an inclination to push them towards banknotes and things like that. So as a result, the person might not get that satisfaction in their collecting journey because they've been sort of pushed into an area that they may not really have had an interest in. So I try to paint the picture of, it's a very broad and eclectic industry. There are a number of areas that you could focus on. But as a result, I think you should look at it for yourself and make up your own informed decision. There will always be a lot of noise out there and people telling you to only collect this or steer clear of that. But ultimately, you need to do what you enjoy and what makes you happy. Because ultimately, for a lot of people, this is a hobby and you need to have fun doing it. All right, on to number 4. This is a bad one. Buying from dubious or unreliable sources. And this is something, again, that I've seen more often than I would like to in the shop. Just last week, a gentleman came in with a stack of about 10 US Silver Eagles. And even as soon as I looked at them, I thought, oh, this is not right. I put them on the tester and sure enough, they were not genuine. They were not silver. And he said, oh, I thought that I got such a bargain. I paid, half the silver price for them at a market a few weeks ago. And I thought, look at the context. Look at where you're buying, who you're buying from. Are they actually a coin dealer? Do they have a reputation to uphold? Also, is the deal too good to be true? If someone's offering you something significantly lower than the actual value and they're claiming, oh, I don't really know much about this, but I think this is a good price, so you can have it for that. You need to have that awareness that there are people out there that are wanting to take advantage of enthusiastic collectors. And there's nothing worse than a collector that knows just enough about a subject to recognize what they perceive to be a bargain, but they don't quite know enough to identify when something is either fake or a deal is just not right. So there are countless other examples. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken with who have bought 1930 pennies on Gumtree or something like that. For anyone watching in the US, Gumtree is like the Australian, it's sort of like an eBay marketplace type thing where people can, it's like a classifieds, so people can list whatever they want for sale, and seemingly there aren't really any repercussions. So as a result, there are a number of people that are doing the wrong thing and selling replicas and fakes. And again, people identify the 1930 penny as the big famous Australian penny that's worth significant sums of money. But as a result, they're not doing their checks. They're not identifying it as a fake. And I've had to have conversations with people that have spent upwards of $10,000 on something that's a replica. It's worth nothing. It's just a space filler in a penny album, which is really disappointing. But this does highlight the value in dealing with reputable people. And I'm not just saying, come on down to Thompson's Coins, it's the best, you'll have a good time and everything's, legit. I'm talking about anyone you're dealing with, even in the Facebook communities and things like that. You just need to be mindful that there are people out there doing the wrong thing, and you should be aware of that and just be cautious, because unfortunately there are people that want to take advantage of your love for the greatest hobby in the world, and I hate to see it happen. Number 5, finish it off. This ties in everything that I've been saying, and the biggest mistake, I actually think this is sort of an all-encompassing mistake, and it's to lose sight of why you're collecting. And I guess I have already touched on it, but for me, this sort of ties it all together. And if you find that new coins are coming out, this probably relates a lot to people that are collecting modern coins. And if new coins are coming out and you find that instead of getting excited, you're sort of rolling your eyes and thinking, oh no, I need to get back on the merry-go-round and it's going to be a nightmare and I'm going to have a bad time. If you're not having fun, I highly encourage you to take a look at some of the older releases that are out there. There are so many great coins that have been put out by the Perth Mint, the Royal Australian Mint, and mints all over the world that don't have every man and their dog trying to get their hands on them. There are so many interesting themes that you can look at and so many great coins out there that you can really start to build up a collection. I would suggest for a fraction of the price that you're paying, if you're buying the hottest new release from the mint on eBay for 10 times the price, you get it and you think, I don't know why I just spent $200 on this $2 coin. I encourage you, again, go back, look at some of the older coins that are out there that aren't flooded with FOMO and getting hyped up by lunatics online. And I think that you'll find that it's really, really enjoyable, and it can be a stress reliever collecting. You don't have to be feeling like you're panicked or you're flustered and trying to keep up with everything. You can really just take a step back and enjoy yourself, because that's what it's here for. It's the greatest hobby in the world for a reason. And I think that some people, unfortunately, lose sight of that. And it's sad to see people leave the hobby because they feel they can't keep up, or they're getting pushed out by some of the things that are happening in the current marketplace. So that's my 2 cents. Let me know in the comments, are there any mistakes that you've made or things to be mindful of that you would encourage people to be wary of in their collecting journey? Let me know in the comments, and also let me know if you've made any of these mistakes. Like I said, I'm probably guilty at one point or another of all of them, so I'm just highlighting it, flagging it for people to be aware of. That's it for now. Like I say, if you want to come down in store, we're here in Boronia, in the Boronia Mall, shop 850 Dorset Square. We're here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 10 till 4 and Saturdays from 10 till 3. I hope you enjoyed the list. I might do some more of these. This was a bit of fun. I like sort of sharing some of these experiences with you guys. Anyway, that's it. Consider subscribing if you enjoy coin collecting, the greatest hobby in the world. That's it for now, and we'll see you soon.